Welcome to another episode of My Slice of Life with Madison Bellissimo. I'm joined with Miss Veronica Maccari today.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello. A very, very dear friend of mine. One of my best friends, actually.
Aw.
And I'm very excited to have you on. You've been on my other podcast,
Yes.
Femme Tell All,
Yes.
with Miss Ruth Devereaux, that delicious human being that she is.
Yes.
And now I asked you to come on the new solo pod.
I'm so excited and still nervous. Last time I was super nervous. This
Really?
time I feel a little better, but I'm still like, oh my God.
As soon as the lights go on, the camera goes on,
Yeah,
you're
you're
like, and even a seasoned professional, you're an actor yourself. But like,
I think because it feels like we're we're not acting, but it's like
I totally
I
get you.
should be turning something on.
But
I actually need to chill, you know?
Yeah. Like this is the whole point of this is for me to bake you a sweet treat and for us to talk about what makes life so sweet.
Literally, I'll take that any day.
So you're actually on a really fun diet right now.
Yeah, we can call it that.
Yeah.
Sure.
What are your parameters? Just so we can give the audience what they know before we introduce what we made.
Yeah. I am on an anti-inflammatory diet to kind of rebalance my hormones, which means that I can't eat anything that is delicious, low key. But we're finding our ways. But basically, I can't eat grains. I can't eat dairy, alcohol, sugar, soy, corn. I think and seed oils, which they are everywhere.
They're in everything.
Yeah. So any like product that you buy at the store, unless it's like a very healthy like 5-ingredient thing, it's gonna
seed
have
oils.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's a pretty like whole food diet where it's like fruit, vegetables, meat, fish, eggs. Yeah. And that's
but it's been working for you. Like you to balance your hormones. Yeah. I feel like you felt really healthy. And
no, I have to say, I thought it was going to be impossible. I was like, there's no way.
And
like,
you're Italian too.
Yes. So I was like, I'm so sorry. I can't have bread and pasta. Like,
no, that's my literal bloodline.
Exactly. So I was like, I was very concerned. And then I started it, I want to say end of January. And I was like, let's just give it a shot. And it's been since the end of January.
Yeah, we're in May.
Yeah. I did cheat here and there, especially on vacation where I'm like, this is just not possible because I can't cook. Yeah. But at home, I've gotten very creative in the kitchen and just finding my substitutions. And it's worked out. And I mean, you made me a baked good.
I was going to say, like, speaking of substitutions, and I really appreciate you. I kind of confided in you where I was like, what do you want? And are there any recipes that remotely strike that, like what you were looking for, you know? And you sent me this amazing recipe for a copycat Girl Scout Tagalong, which are those peanut butter chocolate cookies with like the wafer in the middle. They're so good for anyone that hasn't had them. But these are the grain-free, seed oil-free, sugar-free. Yeah, dairy-free. So,
oh my gosh.
We're very excited. So I made this with almond flour. You do a little arrowroot. You do some monk fruit for the sweetener.
Yeah, I use that every day.
Yeah, that monk fruit. And it's strong.
It's really strong. You need so little and you're good.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then also with the dairy-free monk fruit sweetened chocolate.
Yes.
And we did almond butter instead of peanut butter. Yes. And I think they're going to be good, hopefully.
God, I'm so
should we try them?
Yes, please.
Okay. First bite, I'm going to go in with you.
Oh, my God. Okay.
They're freezing because they had to be frozen.
Okay.
Oh,
my God. I'm an addict now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's amazing.
These are delicious. Like, no cap.
No, actually, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is like
healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, this is bad for me.
Yes.
But
because it tastes
not
bad
too
for you.
Yeah.
And for the people at home, for the center is a double cookie situation with the almond butter and then dripped in that dark chocolate.
So good.
This is really good.
Oh my God. Okay, I actually need you to teach me to make this because this will be
Absolutely.
my staple treat.
You know,
incredible.
I will say it's not like. Let me chew first. Sorry. I will say, I know you've made a bark with like a date bark with chocolate, right? I bet you that's probably a little slightly easier than this, just because it's like a one sheet pan situation.
Yeah.
There are some steps because you have to bake the cookies, and they're very delicate with that almond flour. But the taste is so there. You're not missing anything. And it really wasn't. It's more time consuming as in you have to do processes of like letting it freeze and letting it cool.
Gotcha.
But the actual process of it
was chill.
Totally chill.
Oh my God.
You could easily do this.
Okay.
And I will teach you.
Please.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, because that's the thing about this diet and probably every diet.
Yeah.
If you don't get creative in the kitchen, you'll be so bored that you're like, I got to go out and get a pizza.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting to that place. So I'm like, I need to get creative again or I will not make it.
Yeah. Because you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a napkin because there's a lot of chocolate. I'm so sorry I gave you.
I was about to lick my fingers, but
you
I want to keep it.
Please lick it. Finger licking good. You heard it here, folks. But yeah.
So good.
And please, obviously, let me know if I have chocolate in my teeth. I will let you know.
Okay. Perfection.
Great. Perfection.
Oh my gosh.
You look amazing. But wow.
I'm impressed.
Obviously.
Are you impressed? It's kind of like
I'm really impressed.
Crazy.
And I think this recipe developers nowadays, I mean, there's so many recipes. I think you know this where I used to make a new recipe every week.
Yes.
And I did it for like 4 years. And that was crazy time in my life.
That's crazy. It was 4 years. I didn't track that.
Really seriously, 3 years.
Okay.
4th year, I was mostly good about it. But there was a couple of like when I went on vacation. The other years, like when I went on vacation, I'd either make it on vacation or I would double back. When I came back, I'd double up.
My God. On the 4th year, I was you're like, I'm punishing myself from doing 2.
Yeah, literally.
Because I didn't do last week.
Because I was like, I can't skip. And my mom, was bless her soul, this is a tangent, I apologize. But my mom, every time, because that was like the first year I did it, I was living in their guest house during the pandemic. And it was 2020. And my mom would be like, do you really? She was like, don't be so hard on yourself. And I, like a gremlin was like, Mom, no.
It's my job.
I was like, I have to do it every week. And she was like, you don't have, no one's making
actually
you. And I was like, I have a commitment to the people.
That's the pandemic. We were like, I need to do this every week or I will lose my mind.
Yeah, it was a hyperfixation. And honestly, I loved it because it paid off because I learned so much about cooking and baking. Yeah. And it was really therapeutic and cathartic. And all of that to say, my second year, because I was like, I didn't punish myself enough the first year. The first year, I was like willy-nilly just going with like wherever the
whatever
mood.
you want.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I want to like a pot roast this week, and I want to this week, and I would just do that. Which is funny to say now that I'm pescatarian because I'm like, I wasn't eating a lot of meat, but I did. So then the second year, because I'm not a huge meat eater, I was like, let me do at least
vegetarian.
Yes, options. I was like, try and be as vegetarian or like plant-based as possible. Yeah. I was like, try to also shop locally and also try and do the like. I know that I sound like such a fucking asshole.
Amazon Fresh for you.
Yeah, but and it was also sometimes I was still going to the grocery store, but like I would try and do the farmer's market when I could. Yeah. And then I was also because I was doing the farmer's market, I was trying to do things in peak season.
So, oh my God.
All this to say.
A lot of challenges there.
I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment. But I will say, to your point, it is so impressive because
it's like 5 ingredients or something.
Yeah.
And it tastes so like this is a very, how do you say, like, I don't know, a treat.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like this is a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But it has very little sugar because you didn't put any sugar, literally. Yeah. And it's... Yeah, it doesn't have any...
You can eat this in the morning.
Shit. Yes, as a good Italian, I should.
This is breakfast. I'll send you home with these. But yeah, it's funny because, to your point, it is so impressive.
Yeah.
And I didn't really fully understand it until I made those recipes. And I was like, oh, you can get really creative and make some really delicious meals.
With substitutions.
Absolutely.
No, 100%.
Well, thank you for giving me a fun little challenge. And feel free, you can eat in between. You can be like, Maddie, I need a pause break. I need some milk. Well, you're not doing milk. You're not doing
almond milk.
I do have almond milk.
Really? Oh my God.
But like anything like that, you just let me know. Yeah. We're here to have some fun. But
I'm ready.
I'm going to start on the first question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're a listener to the new pod. You're familiar with the 3 questions.
Sorry, I'm going to drink because
I did sip.
Have a tooth extraction, so I'm like still feeling weird in my mouth.
No, take your moment.
Enjoy the view of my Stanley.
I love that your Stanley is
matching everything.
Matching you.
Yeah.
You're always very well curated, though.
I think I just really like pink. I used to think...
I think it's actually just pink.
I just have so many things. Because I felt like when I was younger, it was like, do not wear pink. That's too girly. And now I'm just reclaiming it. I'm like, I fucking love it. It makes me so happy. Yeah. And so just the little things, I just have them in pink. And I'm like, and today I wanted to show like, this is me, bold colors.
It is.
And so everything is
and your purse that you came is beautiful pink. It's this
same
fuchsia. No, I love it. And I think it's interesting that you say that like it might have been from, a bit from childhood. You were an athlete. We talked about that on the last pod. But yeah, I mean, you were an athlete, so I understand where you probably didn't feel encouraged to wear pink, even as a woman.
Yeah, no, they were like, don't be girly. That's disgusting.
How dare you?
Oh shit!
And you're like, never mind. I've never been a woman in my life.
Literally, I was like, I'm gonna put see-through mascara because you cannot know I'm wearing makeup because that is not acceptable. So now I'm like, girly
embrace
girl.
it.
I'm trying. Yeah.
I'm sure the Barbie movie was healing for you.
Yes, I was like, oh, this is my era. I am Barbie. She's me.
Yes, she is me. She is us, which is the beautiful.
Yeah, everyone reclaimed it. Like,
yeah. Thank God. But my first question is, if your current stage of life was a TV or film or, media genre, what would it be? And the follow-up question to that is, what would the audience be screaming at you?
Yeah. Gosh, not me being like a filmmaker and actor and literally Googling movie genres.
I think that's so normal.
I was like, what are these? I feel like I watched like the same 4 genres.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I need to be specific.
Well, I was gonna say to your point, like Mac, who has the medicinal background, like is like studying to be a PhD MD, and they had one of the most astute like genre choices. They had like 4. It was like coming of age drama. Like LGBTQIA plus. I was like,
okay.
Oh my God.
Genre blending.
Yeah, like literally, like they gave like pretty much what Netflix does of like the 3 genres.
Right. The mix. Yeah.
So impressed. So all that to say,
I can go crazy.
It's safe.
Okay,
yeah, like do whatever feels good for you. And if it's something that's like just drama,
yeah.
That's cool too.
Got it. I think I was thinking about it. I'm in that moment. I'm like in a dramedy movie. At the beginning of the dramedy movie where you see that like young adult that maybe is not so young anymore and they're kind of like a bit stuck and flailing. They're fine. They're not like, oh my God, they're doing horribly. But you're like, okay, like, do something,
Sure.
Yeah, and then like a catalyst happens and then they have to go on a journey and then by the end they're like, oh my God, now I'm an adult, whatever.
Okay. A bit eat, pray, love situation.
You know what? I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, totally.
Maybe.
You're like, okay, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
But you see them and they're not thriving.
Yes.
I think that's where I'm at.
Okay.
And I think this is the sequel. Like my first movie was a great coming of age.
Yeah.
Where it was very exciting. And I was like, I mean, it was hard, but I think I was like, I have this goal and it's very specific and clear. And so I can just go at it. And it made me very resourceful, creative, and focused and determined and kind of like clear on what I was doing.
Okay.
And then I got at the end of my coming of age movie and I was like, I did it. And then it's like, wait, what am I supposed to do now? And that's where the sequel comes in, which is now where I'm like in the first act. I think I'm nearly at the turn to act 2. Now I'm being a writing nerd. But that's where I'm like, okay, this callus, I'm trying to create my own callus by, kicking my own butt.
I
to
love
change,
that.
I
will say, as your friend, like
you're like, what are you talking about?
No. I like obviously we're our own worst critic, and it's so easy to be like, oh, I see this for my future. So right now feels like flailing. Like hearing you in any flailing is just ridiculous because you're so composed and you are so meticulous with what you do. Like even if you feel like quote unquote lost at certain times, like your version of lost is like the average person's like put together. Just to give you some respite there. But I will say I relate to what you're saying, and I totally hear the like I can envision you like with the narrator trend that's going on TikTok right now, where they're like, Veronica wants to do this and blah blah blah, and you're like,
but all she does is this. And I'm like,
and they're like, and she can't eat any sugar on top of that, and you're like, shut the fuck up. Like like I could totally see that.
Oh my God, yes, no, 100%.
That's such a fun genre. Okay, so you like you said, you're a writing nerd too. You write as well.
Yeah.
What do you think your audience would be screaming at you?
Oh gosh, I think to quote the great Kim Kardashian, they'd be screaming, get your ass up and work.
And work, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody wants to work these days.
Exactly. Oh my God. We're like, she's a lazy fuck.
She's an icon though. Like
no,
for her to say that.
Literally, I'm like, actually, maybe you're right.
Yeah. I'm like, Kim K?
The way
maybe.
that like plays in my head, like it lives there rent free.
Oh.
And I'm like, but thank you for that.
Thank
Jem.
you, Kim K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they would say something like that and like want to shake me a little bit, which again, not to say that, oh my God, I'm doing horribly and I'm like truly, truly like flailing, like, oh my God, things are going badly.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a little bit, I think, hesitant and fearful. And it's not like, oh, I'm just scared. There's, you know, I'm not super clear on like the path forward in a lot of ways. And I think it's because before my sole goal was getting a visa to stay and, you know, proving that I was extraordinary in my field as the government wants. Yeah. And then getting the green card. So it's like, okay, that's number one priority. That is kind of like life or death survival. So everything else like goes to the wayside and that is my singular goal. When, you know, you get that and, you know, I got the green card. I'm here. Great.
That's like incredible. Congratulations.
Yes. I'm super happy. Yeah. Then it's like, oh, now I can do what I want. What is that?
What do I want?
Yes. And I also think as creatives, it's just not a good idea to be results oriented or goal oriented really, because if you don't achieve the goal, you're like, well, I guess that means that I'm not good enough in my art. If you do get your goal, then out of that, you're like, what's the point of my art? I got my goal. So what am I doing? You know, what am I supposed to do now? So I'm kind of feeling a bit of that, like, yeah, I got this goal, but I want more, but what is more? Yeah. And what is the path?
Yeah.
And
what does that mean to me?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And now I think I am taking action. So hopefully the audience is like relaxed a little more because I am.
They're like,
yes.
Okay. We believe in her.
Exactly. Okay. But for a minute there, I was just kind of like getting to the end of the things I was working on. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to do something else. And it's like, shit, like how am I going to do it? So
I'm so glad that you said that thought. Like, please give yourself some grace and give yourself some credit, first of all. Because I do think that the audience, me as an audience member watching your life, I'm like, she's good. She's going to be fine. You know, and it's so much easier to say that as our friends. You know, I know when I've talked about the podcast and what that means and like the things I was worried about, like, you know, I just brought up a scenario that I was like, I'm trying to get this for the podcast. Yeah. And you had heard that I was a little concerned about it and we got to celebrate that. I got it. Yeah. And that was one thing that I appreciate. You know, it's like it's easy for your friends to support you and then still see that struggle on the side. Be like, but have this all-knowingness, you know, of like what you're considering the audience is privy to right now. Yeah. Of like, she's going to make it through. She's set her, you know, her steps, or she gets the goal. She understands it. Yeah. Like she's making forward movement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's hard to give yourself that credit when you're doing it. Yeah. Because there's still some shame even when you take a step. You're like, but I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Or else like, is this the right step? I don't know. Yeah. You just kind of blindly, especially in this career, it's like, you're pretending you have a plan when there is no set plan that everyone tells you, that's going to work. So you're just hoping things will add up at some point.
Absolutely.
And so you're like, I hope so, but it's hard to be super convinced that you're doing the right thing because there's no guarantee. And so if you just think about that too hard, you're not going to take actions. You're like, but wait, maybe I should be doing this thing instead.
Yeah. And I think like being paralyzed like mentally in this field is so crippling. Yeah. Because to your point, you go, what is the best decision? What do I do? Do I do a new reel? Do I get new headshots? Do I write another short film to stay? Like you go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or you pivot like me and you're like, listen, I'm not giving up acting, but I need to do something else creatively that 100%. I can consistently do. Yeah. You know, and you go, okay, the podcast, you know, and you find, and you just have to invest in yourself and like really believe in it. That's also the
thing. Like these actions are not free or they're not cheap.
No.
So it's not like, okay, I'm just gonna, I don't know, I can't even think of anything. Like, do a little new thing. It's like, no, I'm gonna get a new headshot. That's $600.
Right there.
You know, this podcast setup. Yes. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I won't
very expensive. So you're like, it feels like, am I like putting this amount of money when, you know, the point is having a career. So you're maybe not making as much as you would like. I'm spending more to try to advance my career, and you're not sure if it's the right thing. And I kind of envy those people who are just kind of delulu and they're like, I know what to do and I'm going to go get it.
Totally.
Because at the end of the day, just being like determined, tenacious, and getting shit done, whatever that is, it's gonna get you somewhere.
Yeah.
More than someone who's like calculating and studying and researching, being like, okay, maybe I'll try. That's me at my worst.
Yes.
Yeah. And at my best, I'm like fucking going.
Just go.
You know.
Yeah. There is you have to really ride the line, and I feel like we have this similar, like, opposite preference where we would rather research abundantly and then like try and figure out like what's the best plan of action, and then we would talk, you know, you're even like, I always thought I was a researcher that never made a decision without looking it up. Veronica Maccari has me beat in the best way. Like I say this in a full compliment. Like I'm like truly enamored by how much prep you do for all of the work that you do. You're so informed. Really, you really are.
Thank you.
And I just find it funny because I do feel like we know people. I'm not saying that we share these people, but like you just come in contact with it. Yeah.
Yeah, they just send the email. And I'm like, what do you didn't rewrite it like 7 times and like looked up to make sure that was exactly the right email. And I don't know. I'm
the
like,
brain.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
They're just like, hi. I'm like, what do you mean?
And sometimes it pays off, to your point. And there is a point of like preparation.
Yeah.
And then opportunity, right? Like you have to just lean in when an opportunity strikes. Sometimes you don't have time to double check the email. You just go.
You just have to go and hope, for the best.
And I think you're doing that more. I've seen you do that more in this, like, specifically kind of what you're referencing, this like most recent season of your life.
Yeah.
I feel like you've done more of that, of like, I'm just going to fucking do this. This sounds fun. I want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
And I think that's only benefiting you.
Yeah. No, I think I'm trying to do it more in non-career related stuff where I'm trying to pick things up for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Also, when I'm not good at it, I'm just like, I'm just going to put myself out there. Like, I'm talking about like dance classes.
We went to a dance class. We went to a dance class that I have never been so shook in my life. I've taken heels class before. I'm sorry, this is a quick anecdote. But like, genuinely, you are an angel, and you invited me to this. You were like, let's have a fun little heels class.
Let's have fun. Let's shake our ass.
And we both enjoy shaking our ass and having fun and trying something new.
Exactly.
And we both like working out. So it was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. Let's go. We'll go on a little Sunday night.
Yeah.
The way this shook me to my core, I almost needed a year of therapy out of it. I'm kidding, but I literally
humbled us.
No, you did so much better than I.
I did okay, but
no, please take this. Like, you did so well. And then I did the cardinal sin, which is like, I fucking immediately got in my head because I was like, I'm not good enough. And then that just ended up
that just becomes
adding
bigger
to it. Yeah. I couldn't catch up because then I was like,
shit,
I'm not good at this, and I hate that I'm not good at this.
Yes.
Instead of like,
it's
fine.
Who
No
cares?
one's good at this.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, I'm in a group of like 98% women that like are fucking slaying this.
They're better people than me because they can do this and drop to the floor.
Immediately I was like, I'm not worthy to be in this room.
Totally.
So I derailed myself. And like, I'm not a spiraler. So that was where it was funny. That's why I was like, this really actually shook me. This tested me. This one class. But we had so much fun. And I would genuinely go back.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Like, you have to. And sometimes it's just too hard that you're like, I'm just not coming back. But I think if you...
Not for me.
Not for me. Yeah. But sometimes it's like, it's very hard and you're like, I'm terrible at this. But you're still having enough fun that I think it's important to go again because you're proving yourself that it's okay to not be good at something and still have fun.
Yeah.
And it's like you're telling your nervous system that nothing horrible is going to happen if you quote unquote embarrass yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, not only am I taking more heels dance classes, which now I'm a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm taking this twerk class.
Yes, you are. I saw it on your class pass schedule.
And I know you've never seen a video of that because it's, and I don't know if anybody will ever see it.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, I just went to a class. I was about to quit. I am not a quitter. Like, my pride is so high in these classes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am about to step out because I look ridiculous. It humbled me in a way that I was like, I'm so horrible. And then and then the teacher at the end was like, okay, now everyone's in a circle and everyone's going to go by themselves.
No.
Yes.
So wait, individually in a circle.
In a circle, you're going to do the choreography that I could barely, like, you have to, like, raise one butt cheek, then the other one. I'm like, I barely know what's happening. Like, neck down.
Below the way. Neck down. I can't control it at all.
I truly, exposure therapy, crazy. And I was like, I am proud of myself. And I was like, I'm never coming back. But then I'm like, no, because you actually love it. And I have to say, I've been to this class maybe 3 times. This was the hardest one.
Yeah.
And now I realize when I'm at home with my boyfriend and like the music comes on, I feel more confident to just be a little sexual and have fun, you know? And I'm not so in my head of like, oh, I have to like do a dance move. So even though I'm horrible in class, it is still giving me that boost of confidence that I was looking for when I signed up for it.
That's all that is. It's worth it to do that.
It's worth it.
It really is a form of exposure therapy, especially a fucking dance class in LA.
Literally, where there's like little dancers with you.
Yeah, and people that are like, I'm not a dancer.
You're like, sis.
Yeah, I'm like, be fucking for real. If you took 10 plus years of fucking dance at some point, like lyrical jazz, hip hop, tap, my God. I'm like, fuck you. Like, you are a dancer.
I can't touch the tip, my toes.
Yes.
Like, that's where I'm at. They're doing splits in heels.
Yeah. And that was the funny part is I remember you being like, well, you have dance experience. I was like, I have musical theater dance experience. It's quite different. I was like, this is not going to help me for shit. Like, I was like, character heels,
rhythm,
I can, I was like, I can totally do it. But, and usually choreography, I'm pretty good at.
No, but that class was especially, we did a lot of floor work. No, it was so hard. And I went to that same class that I did post a video because I'm like, oh, I could do it. But there was minimal floor work. So it was kind of like you were a little bit unlucky.
Yes.
And that specific choreography was just difficult.
Also, let me be on my soapbox for 2 seconds. It was advertised to us as an intro to heels class. It was like, we are going to go through the basics of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
so
the marketing was off.
Oh my God. And I was like, I've been to heels classes. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because I've survived the other ones and had so much fun and was like still not doing super well, but like had fun, was shaking my ass, having a good time. Yeah. And this one I was like, oh no, I am like literally not qualified to be in this room right now. Yeah.
But I told you that I found out that that is their beginner class, and apparently there is an intro.
Yes.
which I was not privy to.
Yes. So we need to take you can go to beginner. You're ready for beginner.
We can go to the intro. But I guess this was a tangent because I was thinking that I'm trying to do these things so that also in my career where the stakes feel higher, I feel less fearful of embarrassing myself and doing the wrong thing. Yeah. And I think that has helped to where even if I make a mistake or I kind of embarrass myself, I'm going to survive because I've done it yesterday in twerk class.
Yes.
You know,
twerking, I embarrassed myself twice this week.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I always say, like, I'm a huge component and advocate for actors and storytellers in general. So, like, you know, anyone behind the scenes as well that meaningfully makes stories in a media sense. I would say, like, I feel like sometimes we can get a little too obsessed with the craft or like get a little too we need a touch of grass moment situation. And I always feel like if you're more exposed to new habits or new experiences, then you can act better or tell the story a little more authentically. Yeah. Like I bring up Mikey Madison, like with Honora, like you specifically doing these twerk classes. Yeah. Say Honora came up on your agent got back to you next week and was like, hey, Vero, we have this. You've been taking twerk classes. Like,
let's fucking go.
Yeah. And then, she obviously didn't know that before. Like, she wasn't advanced twerking or stripping or anything like that or, exotic dancing before taking the role. And you can always invest time and training and you will get the right people. But I think just to be convincing enough or like willing enough to try these things, like sometimes we get too in our head with the imaginary circumstances.
Yeah. And it's just easier when you've actually lived it. Yeah.
I know so many actors that like don't do anything other than acting class. And I'm saying like in their everyday, like you don't have to like.
They don't have a hobby. They don't travel. They don't. Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm like, if you're not exposed to these things and you're pulling on like, you only know one city that you've ever lived in your life and you've never gone outside of it and you only love acting and you only read plays, you don't even read books or something like that. Sometimes I feel like it's not really helpful, to say the least. So I think, to your point, for so many reasons, these putting yourself out there scenarios are super, super beneficial.
Yeah. And I feel like I graduated a while ago from like thinking that, oh my God, you have to be the best actor possible and that's the most important thing in your life, to I want to be the most interesting person. Yeah. And I trust that will make me a better actor, writer, filmmaker, artist, which I think is just true. I mean, you see
objectively.
it. Yeah. And you have to draw from the things you do and the experiences you have and the thoughts you have to make art. So if your only thought is art, not even art, because the art, there's a lot there, but like what you're doing, your craft, gosh, that's boring.
It is.
Like,
in my opinion. So I'm glad you're saying it too.
You know, when you talk to actors that only do that, it's like, God, have you read an article?
Yeah.
Like, ever. I don't know, anything.
Like, what did you eat this week that you liked? Like,
tell me something else that you're interested in. And I think, you know what, I'm in this writing lab where at the end of every month we have to bring new ideas, like pitch. And I'm always like, fuck, I need to be more interesting. Like, I need to go out and like experience more, because when you're a storyteller, you just can't get bogged down in the one thing you're doing right now. You have to always be open to new ideas, especially because in this industry, you will do one thing and you're like so obsessed with it. And then they're like, that's awesome. What else do you have? And you're like,
and 3 other things.
What do you mean?
And that goes for stories too. Like you could have 4 amazing stories. And then sometimes you'll meet with a literary agent and they're like, okay, great. And what else do you have?
Yeah. But do you have a horror that is also a romantic comedy in this?
And you're like, of course I do. Yeah. You're like, give me a week. Yeah. And I think, to your point, like the more exposed we are to like life, right? Yeah. Like in every capacity, like you becoming an aunt this year, you know, something like that. Like that's a huge life experience that you go, oh, wow, like I understand it a little better now. Like if I booked a role that I was an aunt now, like I get it. Like
there's that visceral connection.
Yes. Yeah. And you could write about that. Like maybe a couple months ago, you know, you knew you were going to be an aunt, but you're like, okay, you don't feel as connected by it. But like maybe after that first time you hold the baby, you're like,
oh my God, I'm going to write a whole thing about it.
Totally. Like you never know. So I think it's really a beautiful thing to just open yourself. Obviously you weren't in control of becoming an aunt. But I'm saying opening yourself up to exposure of like so many different things in life.
Yeah. And it kind of like lowers the stakes of your career when you have other shit in your life. Because if this thing doesn't go through, it's like, it's fine because I have this other thing to look forward to. I'm a really well-rounded, great person in these other ways. Like that doesn't hold as much weight on your shoulders. Because and that's important because unfortunately things are not guaranteed. It's a huge risk to enter this industry as an artist. And even when you're very talented, very hardworking, that doesn't equate to success or whatever that means, right? Because you can find success in a different measure than we think of it. But so much of it is luck, or so much of it is like being the right person for that right opportunity in that exact moment. And you know, you just can't bank on that. And so if you're just tunnel vision, trying so hard to engineer that moment, and then it happens in 15 years, like what, you spent 15 years being miserable?
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get to those 15 years because you'll be like, I'm out. Yeah. You know?
And a lot of people do.
Yeah. So. You have to find a way to make it sustainable where you're working on it, you're focused, it's important to you, but it's not the only thing in your life.
Yes.
And so you're like, okay, I'm going to dip into this and this and this and be able to, have a life. Yeah,
absolutely. And I have to compliment you. Like you are so good. Like I always say this, and I feel like I've said that on the last pod so many times and this pod, but like you established a friend group that's how, you welcomed me into that friend group. I was going to say that's how we met, but we met.
Yeah. We met a little, earlier.
But that's how we became close. Yeah. And you are so good at, just creating experiences, moments, always having a momentum of like, let's do this, let's try this. Like you travel so much. Like you are someone that's constantly truly living life, and it is so admirable. And it's something that I'm like, it's totally infectious being around you, and you know, talking to you and how like well-rounded and cultured you are. Every time I'm like, fuck, I need to read another book. I need to like,
please.
No, in the best way. That's the kind of friends you want, you know, and or at least for me, that's the kind of friend I want. And so it's so lovely to have you as a friend because you are so well-rounded and you find joy in so many things. And I know you already mentioned the, you know, the writing lab that you're a part of, and now twerk class. Are there any other?
This is going to be twerk class.
Yeah, exactly. Twerk class is the title of this episode. Are there any other moments, mantras, or like material items that have brought you joy lately?
Yeah. Gosh. I think, I mean, there's lots of things. I mean, if I want to get granular and off kilter, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
That's awesome.
Has me in a chokehold. I cannot stop listening to all the podcasts that these women have been on.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Incredible.
And, you know, there was a time when I would be like, I don't want to nerd out on something. It's just like, no, that's not cool.
Sure. Especially
Especially when it's a reality show, especially when it's about women.
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck. Like, there's some things that give me so much unbridled joy for no reason. Like, this has no stakes in my life.
Sure.
But it's so fun to watch these 24-year-old mothers of 2 or 3 have at it with the Mormon culture as their background and then learn about that Mormon life. And then I listen to all these podcasters who were ex-Mormons and they talk to them. And I'm like, this is crazy.
It's so deep.
It's so deep.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Like I'm saying, the lore goes so deep.
No, the lore goes so deep. Yeah, of course. Because there's like, I don't know, 7 of them and they all have their crazy stories.
Yes. And how they came to Mormonism. Yes. Is it something that they were born into?
That's the thing. It's not just like a superficial, like, okay, these women are just, I don't know, dramatic, whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's some real shit they're dealing with and they're really like confronting and in a way trolling the patriarchy in their own way. And so it creates this conversation of like, I don't know, what do we like that? Like, what are they doing for the Mormon culture? What are they doing for women? So it's fun entertainment, but it really makes you question like, what do you think and your judgments? And me and Vita are like, we're obsessed, and we always get into it. Like, what do you think? Should she have done this? And this
I need to watch.
It's so good.
I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, really?
I've seen like a couple of like,
clips
on TikTok and things like that. But I will be watching because this sounds fascinating.
My God. And season 1, this is season 2. Season 1, I think it was even better.
Okay.
So you're in for a treat.
I'm buckled up. I'm ready.
I'm looking for all the this is where I'm at. I'm looking up their names to see all the podcasts
when they've gone on.
Because they don't hold back. Listen, they have tea upon tea upon tea.
Maybe one of the women will come on this pod. That would be
so
fun.
I will be fangirling.
I would let you come on, obviously. I would have to be like, a group episode.
Expert.
Yeah. You would be the moderator.
Yeah. Like, let me ask you this about this thing you said.
I love that.
So that's a stupid thing. That's
a huge. But if it brings you joy, like obviously just the retelling of what you just said, like that shows how much joy it brings you. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's like a fucking reality TV show. Yeah. If it brings you this much joy, that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, and I think it does spark interesting conversations when you go into it, and I think especially with my boyfriend, because we're watching it, it's like we're talking about real things and. It's good to have things that get you a little bit fired up, whichever way, because now you're going to have a critical thought about it, which I think is just always good practice for your brain. Yes. So I'm not saying that Secret Lives is good for your brain, but I'm not
I'm not saying that you should prescribe yourself some Secret Lives
reality.
Of Mormon.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
I'm obsessed. Yeah.
And then any like mantra or material item that's coming out?
Yes. Let me think. I'm obsessed with my Oura ring.
Girl,
God.
Don't even get me started on this. We've had so many debates. No. I'm so glad that you said this.
I keep mentioning to you. You're like, I gotta get it.
I know. I need to get it because I had the Ultra Human, just to the audience real quick. I had the Ultra Human for a couple months, and I've been like one of the first in our group. Ari also had the Oura ring. I have to give her credit there. But I was like, this is my shit. Yeah. Like my boyfriend almost got me the Oura ring for my last birthday, remember? And then I talked to my parents and they were like, we'll actually get you the Ultra Human ring because I had done some research. I was like, cool, I'll do it.
It's fine. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. I did it, and I told you I went through 3 rings.
That's crazy.
That's factory issues. And
this podcast will not be sponsored.
Yes,
by
it will not be, but it could be sponsored by Aura.
Aura, come through.
Yeah. So it's just so funny because now I've just I've just out of laziness, sheer laziness, I just haven't ordered it. Like my parents are already like, obviously, like the present that they got me was returned. So they're like, just get the Aura ring.
Yeah.
And just like literally out of sheer laziness, I haven't ordered it. And every time me and you and like you and I get together and you like have the best things to say about it. And then I'm like, fuck. And we did a really hard workout this morning.
God. Are we going to talk about
I'll
that?
just lead you into it. Like tell us why the Aura ring is so special.
I mean, I'm thinking about this morning. But the Aura ring is really cool. And first of all, I'm coming so late to the party. Like people are like, so we know.
For
like
years.
It's literally
this
been
is the 3rd gen.
Calm down.
4th gen.
Like welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
But
I was acting like I've been on it too. People have been on it for a second.
People have been on it, and I didn't care for it, but now I'm really interested in Natural Cycles, which is the only FDA approved birth control app that is that works through the data that the Aura collects.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let me get it. And it's really cool because you can see, how you sleep, like how literally during the night, what happens.
Yeah.
And it tells you
how much is REM, how much is deep sleep.
Yeah. And it tells you like how do you feel today? It's going to tell you how ready you are. And so at times you're like, it's fine, I'm thriving. And then she's like, no, bitch, like just sit down.
She's like, you thought.
You actually are sleep deprived.
Yeah. She's like, you actually have so much sleep debt, you bitch.
Yeah.
And you're like,
exactly. So you're like, I need to do something here.
Yeah.
And your workouts, it tracks that too and tells you how many calories. And what I like a lot is the zones. It tells you which zones, which I've been looking into a lot of, like you're supposed to, at your best, kind of hit all the zones in 1 week with different workouts.
Okay, that's cool.
And this morning, you and I went.
We went to a heated cycling class. Which those words don't belong together.
No.
Like they shouldn't belong together.
Right. And you know what? I had taken a heated cycling class, not a bunch in this gym where the truth is they just don't have AC.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's fine. Truly.
It's like the cheapest. They're like,
they're like, heated
we
class.
have the heated fucking cycling class over here. Just get in here.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
I
literally
made it Italian,
just turn off.
American,
Yeah, that's
like
how
New Yorker.
Yeah.
And they just don't pay
they
for
have AC. And I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So we signed up for it and I was like, I'm going to stay it. Like I cycle all the time and I was like, it's going to be fine. When I tell you that I saw a black tunnel and God beckoning me into his arms and tell me to come to him and leave this earthly plane.
Yes.
I am not lying.
You're being dead ass.
I need dead ass.
Yeah.
Like never before in my life have I felt like halfway through the class.
Yeah.
I needed to leave.
Yeah.
I needed. My body was like, get the fuck out. But I have some pride. And so I stuck through it.
You did great.
I mean, the teacher was like, tap to the right. And I was like, bro, I'm just moving my feet because
that's all I can do right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like hanging on by a thread. And the last 2 songs, he's like, just 2 songs. And I'm like, I can do anything for like 6 minutes. I truly was about to throw up.
Yeah.
And I consider myself pretty fit and
you're
like
super
have
fit,
stamina.
and you do cycling all the time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But this humbled me to my core.
It was a humbling class. It was a humbling class.
No, it was crazy.
I will say, like, I didn't realize. I was literally in the bike next to you. I didn't realize it was that dire. Like,
me?
Yes.
I kept my
You kept
fucking
your composure.
poker face. I was like, I can't. Maddie, you look like you're having so much fun.
I was having fun. I will be honest.
I was having fun for first 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We are stuck here. But you seemed fine. And so I was like, if Maddie is fine, over my dead body, I might leave
I'll let her know.
class.
Oh my God, no, you could have. And I was struggling. I told you when he got I think it was when he gave us the 4-song countdown.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
What do you mean? And there were a lot of, we were the youngest ones.
By 20 years.
By 20 years. There were 50, dare I say 6-year-olds.
I think there was a 70 or plus in there.
And I do not understand, are they immortal? Like, are they superhuman? Because I truly don't understand how they were dancing on their bikes, singing, and I could barely get a breath into my lungs.
Yeah, we were truly the youngest by literally 20 years.
And they were kicking our ass.
Yes.
So I was shocked. Truly,
it was so fun.
No,
I
it was
had fun
so
with
fun.
you,
It was so fun.
But I agree with you. It was challenging because I told you,
challenging.
I told your boyfriend my skin hurt at some
Your
point
skin hurt.
because it was so hot.
It was so. It literally was a sauna.
Yes.
But you're cycling. Your body's
Yes.
like, slow down and become a little statue.
Yes.
And instead you're cycling.
Yeah. And your heart rate, your heart rate's speeding up.
Yeah.
And now like the air is so thin when it's hot like that. And when you're doing cardio, your lungs are gasping
You're
for air.
needing that oxygen.
And we were both, there was very minimal oxygen in the room. And I told you this off camera, but I will mention it. So hopefully someone finds this entertaining. But this poor fucking instructor was so sweet to us. And he like set us up. But like there was a point where midway through the class, I found myself, because you lock in sometimes, or at least I do.
Yeah, you're kind of zoning out.
You're zoning in, and I zoned out looking at him, and I was like cycling in the fucking
like a serial
sweating
killer.
profusely, cycling, staring at this man, and breathing heavy because I knew I was trying to like get breath. So I can only imagine this man was seeing me like,
you're like, are you okay?
Literally,
you need
like,
help?
let me call an ambulance right now. And the funniest part is like at the last song, he came around and I saw him like lock in with you and be like, one more, you got it. And
he did. And I was like, I needed that because I'm about to pass out.
Yeah.
And because you kept me accountable, I will throw up in a second, but I will be here on this bike.
Yes. Oh my God. The funniest part is I laughed to myself when that happened because it was like, she's fine. She does this all the time. I literally was like, she's a cycling queen. Like I don't cycle nearly as much as you.
Oh my God.
So like literally a tenth of what you do probably. But I did have fun. It was good. It was very difficult though.
It was very difficult. No, I haven't struggled in a class to that degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding, probably like 10 years. I was just like, this is insane. Why am I struggling like this?
This cycling class was my humbling heels class.
Literally.
Yes.
Me, I'm having a lot of humbling experiences. They're building my thick skin.
Yes, it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And your therapist would be very, very proud of you.
Very happy.
But yeah, it's so funny to me because I think the running lately that I've been doing has helped with the cardio.
Oh, there you go.
But like I don't know how I got I honestly sheer will was me.
For me
like,
it was 1,000% pride and fear of quitting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which sometimes
we're going back though.
We are, especially because bringing it back to the Aura ring.
Yes, please.
I was like, let me just check what Aura says. Like, did I actually work hard?
Yeah.
And Aura says, yes, queen, you did.
Yes, queen, you did so hard. You
so
were Beyonce
hard.
today.
Yes, it was like a ton of calories compared to my. So here's the thing. In this class, I felt like I wasn't pushing myself like muscle-wise. I wasn't really doing the sprints or making it harder, on the bike because I'm like, I'm just trying to breathe.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm sure my Aura is going to be like, bitch, like you didn't do anything.
Usually go much harder than
this.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The calories were way up there.
Yeah.
And then it said that most of it was in zone 4 and 5, which is literally when you're like,
your peak,
fighting for your life. That's the hardest you can go at. Yeah. And it was 20 minutes in zone 5. So that makes sense that I was unwell.
And those kinds of zones, they always say like with Orange Theory and Afterburn and all those, like that's the whole shtick is like if you maintain a workout, I think it's 6 minutes or like 11 minutes or something in that range. Mm-hmm. If you're doing that at that zone, you have much more afterburn. Like your calorie burn after is much more significant as well.
There you go.
So I feel like we got to go back just for that.
Just for that. Because I'm like, okay, then it is giving me a great workout even without, even just by just surviving. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said.
And we got to laugh it off and have a good time.
Yes. And just like the dance class, to be honest, there's part of me that's like, oh, because it was that hard, I kind of want to conquer it and just go back and be like, just prove to myself that I can do it. Like I can do another class where I don't feel like throwing up. Yeah. That's going to be
and then you're going to be like, I fucking nailed that.
I'm going to look at the granny. Am I right?
No,
granny.
Truly.
But like
the way these women were kicking our asses.
Oh my God.
They like the joke I've seen. I think it was on Ride with Benito Skinner and Mary. I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. I love both of them. But in their podcast, like she was talking about, I think Pilates and all this stuff, and she's like. In core power yoga, and they're like, "Are these women preparing for war? Like, is there a war we're not privy to that people are prepping for?" And I felt that in this class,
it just didn't seem like it was hard for them.
Yes,
I just don't understand.
And when they were so much our senior, and that's where I'm like, I think older women, I'm like constantly, I feel like some of the hardest instructors I actually have at like Legree for one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have women that are in their like late 50s and they kick my ass more than anyone. And by no means am I trying to come off ageist here, but I'm like sheerly how like exhausting it was to be in a heated cycling class was I mean, the fact that all of the other people except for us were like
chilling,
seemingly unfazed, makes me
think that age is a scam. Like they keep telling us, they keep telling us, oh, it's you're getting older, blah blah. What do you mean? No. These women are iconic. I can only hope to be like that.
To be half the woman that they are. Yeah. I do feel that way about my mom. I know your mom too. I feel like anytime I see like styled by Antonella, like, did I say it correct? I don't know.
I think I use supplied by Antonella because she gives her stuff to also my friends that they come to my place. They're like, oh, I'm missing a scarf. And my mom will give them a scarf and becomes
most fabulous woman in the world.
It becomes their whole whole outfit.
Yes. Because she's just like oozing in effortless chicness. Like, it's just insane. Yeah. But to that point, like, we were proved that in that workout class. Yeah. And Aura had our back to be like, you weren't wrong. This was a really hard class. Yeah. But we're going to be going back.
We have to go back now because we have to be besties with those women and be I'm one of you guys.
I want to befriend all of them because they were all like sitting after.
They were so
like,
sweet, actually. So sweet. Like, I feel like at Cycle Bar, I don't know. I don't want to talk shit. I love Cycle Bar, actually.
Yeah, we do love
That's
Cycle
where
Bar.
I go usually. Yeah. But everyone's like in the zone. Like, I'm there to kick ass, and that's great. I mean, I don't need to necessarily fraternize with the with the adversary. No, but I get it. In this class, they were partying,
having so much fun, and so
they were singing, they were like talking to the instructor, and I was literally passing out.
I was gasping for air.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
so it's such a good
true.
vibe.
It was a great vibe. So
it's called Sweat Cycle for
Sweat Cycle. I know we've been talking about it. Thank you. Good point. Yeah. And Curtis, I think, was our instructor today.
Wasn't it Chris?
Was it Chris?
Fuck, maybe it was
Curtis, Chris.
And my brain was not there when he said that.
All good. It was a great experience. Yeah. And we will be going back, and we'll be bringing friends probably. Yeah. Some of the other class passers with us.
Yes.
Are there any other moments or anything lately that's brought you joy?
Well, I am a certified decluttering queen. And
Marie Kondo and you.
Literally best friends. No, it's an obsession, actually. Okay. That is the truth. Yeah. And it gives me a level of satisfaction that very few things in life. Like, yes, sex is good, but have you ever decluttered your entire kitchen?
But have you actually organized meticulously everything in your apartment?
It's next level.
You're right. And it doesn't size up.
No, it doesn't size up. And in theme with the season, in spring, Vitor and I, my boyfriend, we've been decluttering our apartment, which obviously comes from me. Like, I don't think he necessarily had that desire. Sure. But I was like, we are doing this section by section. And I mean, as someone who juggles a ton of things in her life, just cleaning one corner of her apartment up, it gives you a level of control that is unmatched. Yeah. You know, it makes you feel like I have my shit together.
Yeah, I've accomplished everything in my day.
Yes, I'm a full adult and I know what I'm doing just because I know whether I want to keep this plate or not. Yeah.
This plate really tipped my day.
Yes, it gave me the confidence that I can make decisions as an individual.
And I will say, as soon as my space is cluttered, my mind is cluttered.
It's out the window. Yeah. And actually, this is something that we kind of fight a little bit.
Really?
Yes, because he's unfazed.
Yeah.
And
good for him. I mean, that's like, I wish I had that.
I wish I wasn't, affected. Yeah. But, he will come in, he will like drop things here and there. And I start feeling my skin crawling. Yeah, yeah. And my problem, and I told him actually last night, I was like, this is my issue. Like, if I enter the home and there's stuff left here and there, I cannot focus on anything else until all of that is put away. And now, because there's a bit of maybe of my stuff and your stuff, now I spend an hour doing that instead of doing something else I should be doing.
Yeah, and something I would enjoy. As much as this makes me feel better after it, I don't necessarily...
It feels a bit like anxious energy.
Yeah, and it's a chore.
It's a chore. It's a chore. Yeah. And sometimes it's nice, like when you're decluttering, you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next 2 hours. Yeah. Great. But on the day-to-day, sometimes we get a cleaner. Yeah. The unbridled joy it gives me to walk into the apartment.
Yeah.
And it's so clean,
pristine,
and tidy. That is my cocaine.
Yeah.
And so
heroin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get that
God.
in my vein.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing that. And also, you know what? There's another part of it that gives me joy, that is knowing what you own.
Yeah.
That it actually feels pretty wholesome and anti-capitalistic, dare I say.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, wow, I have these beautiful things that they were in the back of my closet, and now I'm going to try to style it and wear it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we had these documents that we were looking through. I'm like, oh my God, I had this card from my friend from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I put it in like a photo album so I can actually look at it.
Yeah.
So it feels like I am cherishing the things that I own. And I'm like letting go of things that I'm like, I don't need them. Like, thank you so much, but I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me want to buy less things and feel like, oh my God, I need more. Because I'm like, wow, I have these things. And you know what? I don't need something else that is going to add clutter.
Yeah.
I already have what I need.
Yeah. It doesn't bring you joy to, it is anti-capitalist in that way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like
it's freeing to be like, we have enough. We are more than like satiated.
Yeah. And there's like, I think we had like, I don't know, 4 freaking water bottles. Yeah. 3 of which we don't use because of whatever reason. And I'm like, let's
get rid of them. Let's let them go.
Yes.
Yeah. Give them another life.
Yes. And I think I call you up. I did it when I was decluttering.
Yes. And I appreciate it every time when you're like,
I was like, I have this.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
And I gave you these Element, which actually, how were they? They were
so
Element.
good.
Okay.
I haven't tried the chocolate ones, but I tried the orange one that you gave me.
Okay.
It's funny. I went straight to the good one that you were like, you're going to like this.
Yes. So these are electrolytes.
Yes.
They're Element electrolytes. They only have a few ingredients, very kosher for my diet, and they're very healthy.
Yeah.
And they gave us these extra ones that were hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, flavored.
Mint.
Which I just can't handle that, and a salty drink just doesn't go with me.
So it's very salty because of the electrolytes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, we have like 20 of these. I have been resting in my kitchen. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like Madison would get a kick out of it. At least try it.
And I did.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad. And you gave me some contact solution recently.
Yes. I was like, I have these extra.
No, but it's
so random.
They're so helpful.
Because like, you need them. And now you don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like I had an Apple Pencil, and I had it. Now I have a different iPad.
Yeah.
So I called Alessia up. I was like, do you need? She's like, oh my God, yes. Or I love, like, we started doing this where at some point we did the clothing swap. Yeah. We would just be like, okay, just bring all the clothes you want to give away.
So helpful.
Now it's a little party.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting new stuff without spending a penny, without being consumerist.
Yeah.
And I love it when I see a pair of pants or a shirt that I had for a long time, and maybe I just hate it for some reason. And now I see it on my friend. I'm like, it looks so good. And like, I love that you're getting something out of it.
Yes, you're so right. Alessia, actually, I'm glad that you mentioned her, because she got so many clothes of mine from the last clothing swap. And every time I see her, I'm like, girl, that never belonged to me.
Yes,
like, you know,
it
in
looks
like the most
amazing.
positive way. I'm like, you freaking kill it. You
look
amazing.
And it looks different on you.
And I'm like,
and you feel so proud because you're like, wow, I gave that to you. Like, not like, oh my God, I'm the best, but like, oh my God, I found this thing that, you know, compliments you.
It's a pay it forward situation.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like also, like, in my ego, I'm like, I'm stylish. My girlfriends want to wear clothes that I had. Yeah, exactly. And some of them, like, we had ones, but I remember from our first clothing swap where both of us had things were like new with tags that we had not used.
Yes.
And that was some of the ones that went to Alessia, at least in my case. I took some of your stuff too.
Yes, you took some of mine.
And I'm like,
Marcella took literally all my closet. And it was close to Christmas. And she was like, this is Christmas for me. These are all my gifts. So like, go off, queen.
It was huge.
Yeah. And it's such a it's such a great community building. And if the audience is interested, I got that bug not from Marie Kondo, interestingly.
Okay.
I got it from this, I think it was on Netflix. It was a documentary about minimalism.
Okay.
Where these 2 guys, they were like, I feel like everything is cluttered. So, I mean, their method is hardcore. So I think they take everything out of their closets, of their cabinets, put it in a big pile, I think.
Okay.
And then they, for like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, something like a specific time, they just use whatever they need. And if whatever they don't use in those 2 weeks, gone. And the whole document, I mean, that sounds so drastic. And I would not do that. Yeah. But what they were emphasizing is this element of community where you're like, oh, for sure there's something that I'll need that I'm giving away, but now I'm going to ask my friend to borrow it.
Yeah,
so we're
that's
spending
huge.
less. And now you're creating that bond with this person, which is the whole point of community, like helping each other out.
Hey, can I borrow this? Can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you have this. I borrowed some of your ski stuff
Yes.
when I went
and
skiing.
it's like, why do you need to buy it?
No,
like for no reason.
Especially for my first time. That was such a huge help. And I appreciate that so much.
And I love doing that. And I love that
you're
we
really
can
good
do
about
that.
You're really sharing with your friends.
Yeah, it's I just think it adds it gives more value to the thing that now I bought. Now it's not just something that adds to my life. Yeah, I'm sharing it.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah, it's really gives me a lot of joy. And we just finished decluttering, and I'm like,
the joy high is here.
It's here. Yeah,
I love to hear that, and that's a perfect example of how you get joy.
Yes.
I do want to ask as we wrap up here. What is a lesson that you would like to instill in others or share with others that you may have learned from life's curveballs or just life in general? Something that you've been maybe, thinking on, critical thinking on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this question, to be honest. And I'm actually going to take it back to the first question about the season of your life where, I did reveal that I'm like, I need to make a change. And I am. Don't you worry. But I actually looked up like a mantra about it.
Please.
Yeah. And it's all about action because for me, I don't think about a mantra, but I think about the word action in the sense that in my life and especially in my coming of age era where I was fighting so hard to get this green card and I had to really go above and beyond to show that I had all these accolades and these things to stay in the country. I was scared shitless and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, who am I to try to do these things? And something I learned in that process, thanks to amazing coaches and people helping me, was like, you have to take action even when you don't know if it's the right thing. And even when you don't have proof yet that you can do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it before you have demonstrated that you're capable.
Yeah.
You're going to become capable by doing it.
Yeah.
And so, do some research, sure, but then take action.
Yeah.
Things will snowball. And that's what I'm really holding dear to my heart in this season of my life where it's like, okay, you've marinated for a while of like, what do you want to do? How do you want to proceed? Now just pick a lane and take messy, imperfect action every day or every week. And that will compile and compound.
Yes.
And something will happen faster than if you spend more time thinking about what is the exact thing I should do right now.
What's the best thing to do?
Yeah.
The best thing is to take action, like you said.
Yes.
Because even if it's a redirect, right? You do something, fall flat in your face, you're like, whoa, that's not for me.
Yeah.
My God, I hated that.
Yeah, but now you know.
Now you
can pivot.
Yes, you can
100%.
redirect. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
No, exactly. And I think, specifically right now, I'm looking for a different job.
Yeah.
And I was like, what job? Like, I don't know. Like, especially as a creative, you're like, I need a job that's flexible. I need a job that keeps me stimulated, but also doesn't take me away from this and that. There's so many things that you hope for, a side job to give you. And it's so hard to engineer that. Yeah. And I kept like running into walls of like, well, this job wouldn't work because of this. This job wouldn't work because of that. And at the same time, I have these filmmaking and acting projects that I'm taking forward. And I'm like, well, I don't want to stunt them because I'm going to start this thing. Yeah. So I was truly like running in circles. Yeah. And thankfully, because I've been there before, I knew that I'm like, okay, I can keep running in circles forever. Yeah. I need to take action. And the action for me oftentimes is I need to talk to someone that is ahead of me and who will have some words of wisdom for me.
Yeah, some insight.
Yeah. And so I remember I emailed like 3 people who are kind of like mentors, coaches in the business of acting or filmmaking. And I was like, can I chat with you about this? And it was amazing because they were like, they have an outside perspective. And they were, first of all, able to give me a perspective of the industry and the time that we're in, that me being a relatively young artist, I don't have that, People keep saying it's a bad time, but to me it's like, this is just the time I'm coming up in, and they're like, no, this is a bad time. So you should think about it this way. Yeah. And also they were like, from the outside, I'm going to tell you how you strike me as someone who should maybe get into this and that. Yeah. Because to me, I'm like, I don't know. Like I could do anything, you know? I'll do whatever it takes.
And we're taught to do anything, right?
Exactly.
Like to your earlier point, like we're taught to be like, okay, even if you're good at that, what else do you do?
Yes.
So that's such an easy thing to feel like, well, what should I do if I could theoretically do everything?
Yes. Yeah. And so having someone from the outside, older, with more wisdom, who also thinks highly of me, I guess, being like, actually, these are your strengths. And I think you should capitalize on those. And
objectively, I've noticed this.
Yeah. And they were even telling me like, listen, I'm not telling you this is exactly what you should do. I'm not telling you I know I have a magic ball. Yeah. But this is what I see. And it's still a risk. Like you may still do this and then do all your projects. Nothing may happen. Yeah. But this is what I see. And I think at the end of the day in this career, everything is a risk. So you have to be okay with the fact that it's a risk and still take action. And so, and you know what? After that, I had that conversation and I made a decision on the kind of job I wanted to look for. I felt a huge weight, even though I still haven't gotten the job. Sure. I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply to 15 jobs a day. I'm going to talk to these people. Like now I can go full throttle. And it just took me that first action of literally being like, can I have a chat with you? Yeah. So the mantra is because
please, that's huge. No, I'm so glad that this has resonated so deeply with you. Yeah. That you've been able to consider it and how it affects your life and how you can try and, recommend other people to follow suit and be like, I'm struggling with this. This has been a difficulty for me. And this is the thing that's given me solace. So I think it's amazing that you've gone through this.
Yeah. I hope, I don't know. I hope like people hear it because again, I was struggling and I think life goes up and down and there's so many moments where you're like, I feel like shit. Like I feel bad about myself. I don't feel good enough, whatever. And really, it's a hard position to be in, to be like, I'm going to ask someone for advice or I'm going to ask someone what they think because you're coming from a place of vulnerability and a place where maybe your self-worth or self-esteem is low. So you're not going into a meeting with a mentor being like, I'm going to impress them. I'm like, no, I'm coming here because I don't know what the fuck to do. And I'm scared maybe you're going to judge me. And maybe you're going to also think I'm not good enough. Sure. And so it takes a lot of like, and yet I will still do it because I know that will get me further. And I'm going to put my ego to the side. And so I hope like, I don't know, it inspires someone to be like, you know what, I don't know what the heck I'm doing and I feel horrible, but I'm going to pick up the phone and even call that friend who you feel like has it a little bit more together and be like, hey, what do you think? Or like, what would your advice be? Use that community because at the end of the day, that's kind of all we have.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a beautiful sentiment.
Thank you.
That.
Let me read this. I
would love to hear the mantra.
This is good. This is a quote from Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
And he says, inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy.
Yeah.
Preach.
Slay. Slay. Yeah. No, it's true though. And I think even having this conversation, I know we've had a couple of conversations lately of the last couple months. Yeah. As friends.
Yeah. I was like,
we both where I've come to you and been like, what am I doing? Yeah. Job wise, life wise, work wise, podcast wise. I had you and your boyfriend and our really close friend Alessia come over and brainstorm before I even started this, right?
Which was you asking for advice, suggestion. Actually.
Yeah. And it was because not only people that I really valued their opinion, but it was someone that knew me too, knew my strengths, that I was like, you'll be objective with me or at least be like, constructive with me. Yeah. Maybe you won't be giving like, no girl, you shouldn't do this, but you would be like, okay, so these are your strengths. So this is what you should do. And I see this vision for you. Yeah. And I think we've had a lot of heart to hearts like that lately. And I can speak on my own account that it's been so helpful. So I appreciate it. And I'm glad that you're imploring other people to do that as well.
Yeah. And obviously you've helped me a lot through the lows of like, what the fuck?
It's just relatable, dude. At that point, I think all of our conversations are like, I've felt exactly how you felt, you know, like, if I haven't, I know it's right around the corner, you know?
Yeah.
So
it feels like, okay, I'm not alone in this, and I'm not the loser here on
God,
Earth.
no.
And
it's not embarrassing.
Starving.
It's not. You're not alone. Not at all. Yeah, but and I know you mentioned some projects. I want maybe a quick little pitch before we end it out. Do you want to do a quick little elevator pitch for your project?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I think on Femtel, I was talking about Imposter.
Yeah.
This web series that I've been working on for the past few years. I wrote it, I produced it, I acted in it, and we went to festivals all of last year.
And swept.
It did pretty good.
Swept. Like how many, was it 16?
It was 17 awards.
Okay, I was like, I knew it was 16 or 17. That's insane.
It was so good. I was really happy with that.
Yeah. As a web series, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you wanted ultimately.
Yeah. Ultimately, let's go Hulu, HBO. Let's make it into a TV show.
This. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we're at the precipice of really doing that last step, which is in June, we're going to release the web series to the public. And also just finished writing the 30-minute pilot version for TV. So I'm going to also take that out and see where it lands. So I'm at the end of that journey. And so at the same time, I'm starting new things.
Yeah.
So I have this like action dramedy short film that I want to act and direct. And then I have a feature film in Italian based on my experience sailing that I'm writing.
Yeah.
So these are like that's what
these are your babies.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why I'm at the end of a big journey of my coming of age. And that's kind of like the Imposter project. Like that's the end of it. And then I'm at the beginning of the next thing. And it's exciting, but also daunting.
Yeah.
And thankfully, creatively, the short film and the feature have been percolating my mind for a while. So I'm like so excited.
Yeah, you're hungry.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
And you've already developed so much. Like you're downplaying both of the latter two. But I'm so excited to see them come to fruition. And obviously I've been a very big fan. So has Femtel, Ruth Devereaux, as well of Imposter for quite some time. So we're excited to see it in the public.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod and believing in me.
Oh my God. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed your tagalongs.
Yes.
Your sugar-free, dairy-free, grain-free. Oh my God.
No, I will think about that every night before I go to sleep.
Yeah, we'll be making them soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll need that recipe.
Yes, I will.
And I was telling you, I feel like you should do a cookbook at some point.
She's manifesting it for me.
Yes.
I think eventually this project could very easily pipeline to a cookbook.
100%.
And I would love that. And I want to start doing, for anyone at home, say yay or nay, I want to do some of the recipe videos, like me doing the actual recipe would be fun. So that's
100%.
That's the next step on my
the
slice
docket
of life. Yeah.
Okay. I think that will be amazing. Yeah. Like I need that for these cookies specifically.
Yeah. And I'll happily do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vero.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love
you
so much.
Fun.
Same. Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe. Make sure you follow Veronica. We'll put her handle in the description and everything like that, so you don't have to worry.
Okay.
And you can find her on every TikTok, Instagram.
You can find me.
IMDb, all the things. Yeah, just Google her. She has a great name. And thank you all. Stay joyful, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.